The frame is also used for removing the front axle body. First of all, lock the steering wheel in the straight ahead position and remove the steering intermediate shaft. Remove the front wheels. To prevent the tie rod end from twisting when released, attach the special tool. It's centered by means of an insert and a matching sleeve. There are different sleeves depending on the insert used. Remove the tie rod ball joint. Detach the sliding joint of the control arm from the steering knuckle and the top of the swing arm, counter-holding at the flat. To remove the exhaust system, first remove the cross strut and unplug the wiring harness of the oxygen sensor. On vehicles with a shift linkage, release the steering deflector bracket, and on vehicles with a shift cable, detach the cables from the front axle body. Fit the special tool. And position it below the front axle body. Screw the ball socket onto the rear torque support until there is no play. And remove the front bolt from the rear torque support. Remove 3 bolts from each side of the front axle body. And lower the front axle body. Make sure that no attachments are left hanging. The Corsa D is fitted with fixed nuts for fastening the front axle body instead of captive nuts. Set the positioning pins for installation upright and raise the front axle body. Keep an eye on the pinion, steering shaft and attachments. The front axle body is positioned using the guide pins. Insert new bolts by hand to prevent damage to the nuts on the vehicle floor. Note that they are of different lengths. Tighten the bolts as specified in the service literature. Use a new bolt to attach the rear torque support. Extend the lifting equipment, then on vehicles with a shift linkage, fasten the steering deflector bracket. Alternatively, attach the shift cables. Attach the exhaust system. Connect the oxygen sensor wiring harness plug and fit the cross strut. The side with the LH marking must be installed on the left-hand side of the front axle body as seen from the driver's seat. Attach the swing arm. And the sliding joint of the control arm to the steering knuckle. Install the tie rod ball joint. Attach the front wheels. Attach the steering intermediate shaft to the steering gear. The lower universal joint must be exactly aligned with the cutout in the fine teeth on the steering pinion. In the Corsa D, a standard combination control arm design is used for the rear axle. The damping bushing is installed at an acute angle to the axle. 3 different torsion profiles with different wall thicknesses are used depending on the body variant, engine and equipment. The special tool has been modified for removing the rear axle. The mountings on the frame grip around the torsion profile of the rear axle, and the mountings support the rear axle pivot. The fastening of the left side support has slots so that the various different rear axles can be correctly positioned on the frame prior to installation. The upright guides align the frame with the body before the rear axle is installed. The Corsa D is fitted with disc brakes with a floating single-piston brake caliper. The dimension is suited to the power of the engine. In left-hand drive cars, the 10-inch two-stage brake servo is in the engine compartment and in the interior of right-hand drive cars. In both cases, it's fastened to the bulkhead. Two different diameters of the main brake cylinder are used in the compact version depending on the brake system. On right-hand drive cars only, the main brake cylinder and expansion tank are separated and connected by hoses. The anti-lock braking system used is the new ABS 8.1. At the rear, 8 or 9-inch drum brakes are used, depending on the engine type and vehicle weight. The Corsa D OPC and Z17 DTR have disc brakes. To replace a rear brake drum, first remove the rear wheel. Release the handbrake cable and then remove the protective cap from the brake anchor plate. Prise off the handbrake lever and push it all the way back. Unscrew the 2 bolts and remove the brake drum. If a brake drum can't be removed because of advanced wear, screw 2 M10 bolts into the service holes. Screw in the bolts alternately. And hit the brake drum all the way round with a plastic mallet until it comes away. Inspect all the components and always replace the retaining clips of the brake shoes during this operation.